Hi, this is Deborah. This video is about you going to court. A lot of you might be panicking, especially if you're in a divorce or in a lawsuit and you have no money and you can't be claimed an indigent because you're just over that scale a little bit. My little sister has impressed me so much because she, I guess, went to legal aid. Well, I couldn't even get legal aid to answer my phone calls when I called them 10 years ago, and I called them a lot. But if you go under the court where your trial is at in that county, they have a little link called forms, and if you have been told you need a certain form, then you need to find out and research which form you need. Just like yesterday when I went to court, the judge looked at me like, well, do you know what a bill of particulars form is? And I said, yes, Your Honor, I do. I've done my research. Well, I think that kind of put the defendant's attorney a little on edge, because he goes, oh, this girl knows what the hell she's talking about. Yes. And in the meantime, the clerk of the court hands me the form so I don't have to print it out on my printer. The thing about going to court is you better have a printer that's working and you better have lots of ink. Yes. But yeah, I did find out that in some courthouses they don't have computers. You can't bring evidence in on a thumb drive. You've got to have pictures, and that means they have more of an impression if you don't print it out on paper, on real photo paper, if you know what I'm talking about. But yeah, everything that you need for almost every situation, there's a form for it. And if you're good with the written word and you can follow directions, that is crucial. You can save thousands, because let me tell you what attorneys do. If they are representing a party and the other one has an attorney, what happens is the attorneys, I've seen this firsthand, so any of you attorneys watching this, I've seen it firsthand. They will put their feet up on the desk and they will let time go by about any significant case that you may have in the trial. Now, what I mean by that is they will wait until the parties are bickering, and then what happens is they call their attorneys and say, well, what's going on? Well, that racks up the time on their computer, because anything like around 15 minutes, they're going to charge you a lot more. So it's very crucial that if you do have a case in court, don't get involved in that, because all you're doing is jacking up those attorneys' fees. The best way to deal with it is if you can take that party, meet them out in the parking lot or go to dinner if you feel safe, and try to resolve it amongst yourselves, because the only one who gets rich in any kind of these cases is the attorneys. My attorneys ate so much of my money up. I lost like 90% of my assets when I realized that was just stupid. But my little sister actually was able to get her own divorce by filling out the paperwork that is right there on the computer, and she knew how to set the margins, because that is like kind of important. If you know how to set your margins on your computer, it's all about how you has to be presented in a certain form. And yeah, so she saved herself a lot of misery and anxiety. And so yeah, don't give money to an attorney when they really don't deserve it, because the attorney that I finally hired, he ate a whole box of donuts and just burned up 7 hours, I think it was, in his office when my spouse's attorney was in the other room. And I know that they were not talking and they were not negotiating. They were just watching that clock go. It just made me so mad. So go under the court. You have to make sure you're in the state that you're in, or where the trial is going to be at, and look for the specific form that you may need, and you fill it out yourself. Now, you don't have to be so perfect because I did the executor work for an estate, and I just written it out, or hand wrote it out, excuse me, and the person in the courthouse said this was the most thorough executor paperwork for the probate that they had ever seen. Now, when it came to my, I guess it's called pendente lite, I actually wrote notes all around in a circle on the form, and that was submitted to the judge, and he accepted it. Little did I know that when you are in the middle of a pendente lite, that usually holds true for all future. That is so important that you remember this. You may think it means temporary. No. I had a couple attorneys said, no, you agreed to that halfway in the middle of the trial, then that's the way it's going to stand, you know. So I always thought pendente lite meant pending litigation. No, it doesn't. Whatever you agree to now is in stone. Very, very difficult to get that changed, so don't fall into that. Yeah, and so I hope this has helped any of you all that are in the middle of a trial of any sort. Okay, but I am not a legal expert, and I don't, if you do have the money, I would get an attorney. Just set the boundaries with your attorneys and say, don't call me every day to tell me nothing, because my attorney called me every day. His secretary, I never heard from him. Secretary would call me every day and say, what's up? Like you're supposed to be telling me something, you know. I finally, I wish I had put it in writing that everything's done by emails, because that way they can't string that time clock on. You see what I'm saying? All right, bye everybody.